Hello everyone, and welcome to the first webinar in our three-part series where we're going to be looking at planning, running and creating your project. My name is Bertie Hertage. I'm a crowdfunding coach here at Crowdfunder UK, and we're broadcasting live from our sunny offices here in Newquay. So today we've got a colleague with us. This is Anna, who is the funds distribution manager, and will be telling us a bit about how that process works later on. Hello, Anna.
Hi.
Great. So we'll get cracking. So today we're going to focus on planning your project. And to give you a bit of background, as mentioned, we are Crowdfunder. We are the #1 rewards-based crowdfunding website here in the UK. And to date, we have raised over £40 million for all of the different projects on the website. And we generally see about 150 to 200 individual projects added every single day. So busy business. So crowdfunding, I'm sure you know a bit about it already, but essentially crowdfunding is raising a particular amount of finance from a large group of people via small amounts. And the way that works is by creating, first of all, having a fantastic idea, of course, creating a project on our website, and once live, sharing that project around your network and enabling them to pledge onto the project to get you to your total to make sure your idea happens. So Crowdfunder charges 5% plus VAT, so around 6% of the total you raise. We have two different types of funding, which are flexi funding, where you keep what you raise, or all or nothing, where you have to hit your target to receive the funds. And in both cases, you would only be charged the fees should your project be successful. We also have payment provider fees, which you can check out on our website. So, rewards-based crowdfunding. The best way to describe that really is through an example. So, a rewards crowdfunding is pledging onto a project in exchange for a particular product, service, or experience. So here we have Phil from the Leeds Bread Co-op. Phil had an excellent idea that he'd like to start his own artisan bakery. Problem is that he didn't have any of his own funding left or personal finances, and he'd been turned down for a loan from the bank. So what he decided to do was crowdfund for the £8,000 he needed to get going. And in 49 days, Phil was able to raise £8,690 from 144 different backers. And the way he did this was by offering particular rewards that he'd be able to deliver on once the bakery was open. So an example of that might be pledge £10 and get a drink and a cake when you next come in store. Pledge £50 and have an artisan loaf delivered to your home every week for 6 months. Pledge £100 and get 20% off everything in store for a year. Pledge £250 and attend an artisan baking workshop for you and a friend. Or pledge £1,000 and feature your business's branding and logo within the store and be listed as a sponsor of the Leeds Bread Co-op. So in crowdfunding, we really do limit the barriers to entry. So all different types of projects can feature on the platform. And as you can see here, there's a really wide range of projects that we support. So for example, if it was an arts project, if you were looking to get a monument erected in your local town, you could crowdfund that on the platform. If it was a heritage project, maybe there's a building in your local community that you'd like to restore and get people behind to make that happen. If you're a business and you're looking to move into a new venue, or a product that's looking to fund a new range, Those are all types of projects that you can do on Crowdfunder. So the best place really to have a look, to check out all the types of projects that we host, is by going onto the website crowdfunder.co.uk and browsing through these categories to get a sense of what kind of projects we have and which might be useful to have a look and compare with your own. So why do people crowdfund? And it is so much more than raising the money you need to make your idea happen. First and foremostly, it really is the validation that you get from raising the money to support your idea. Like Phil, if you can get 144 people to back your idea to open a bakery in your local community, then that's proof that there's a demand for the service in your area and that you've got a customer base who want to see this bakery open. Raising awareness. Crowdfunding really is the best marketing exercise. We usually recommend a month period in which your campaign will be live. And within this period, you really are shouting to the rooftops about your business, your brand, and your organization, and introducing it to lots of different types of people and groups who otherwise you might not have come into contact with. And we certainly find from running crowdfunders that you make lasting partnerships on the way and are introduced to lots of more interesting people who can help you for the future. Advocacy. So those that pledge on your project in these early stages, we find to stay with you for the long haul. They're there from the beginning and they'll be there to the end, and they can be really good advocates for your business. And of course, extra funding. We work with lots of councils and corporations through the UK who have particular pots of funding which are available to specific types of projects. And Anna, if you would, is going to tell us a bit more about the process of finding what funds might be suitable for you and how you can apply.
Hello everyone. I'm hoping there's no echo. I'm here to tell you about the Dorset County Council Fund in particular. Dorset County Council have partnered with us at Crowdfunder to quite simply help projects that are based in Dorset and that involve young people to get funding. So it's quite a beautifully simple fund. I'm here to give you the details about the fund, tell you a little bit about how you can apply, and demystify it a bit, because I know the word funding and council can seem a bit daunting to people, but we try to make it really accessible for people to apply it at Crowdfunder, as you'll find out. So the Dorset County Council Fund is really all about youth. So if you're a project in Dorset and you quite simply give young people something to do or somewhere to go, then you should apply. That's the gist of it. Dorset County Council are happy to pledge 50% of your project's target up to £10,000. So that means if you want to raise £10,000, they could potentially pledge £5,000. Or if you want to raise £25,000, then they could pledge £10,000. So it could make a huge impact on your project. It's a considerable sum of money. It essentially cuts the work in half, so it's a really big help to projects. You know, for example, it could be something like a theatre group or sports activities, anything that can help inspire, support, encourage young people. The criteria is quite broad for this fund, which is really, really good. It just breaks down all the barriers. It makes it really accessible to a lot of projects. So I'm really excited about the Dorset County Council Fund because they've been really great to work with. So if you have any hesitations about it at all, then do get in touch with us, and obviously we can help you clarify anything. And Dorset County Council are also really responsive as well. So if you want to apply, they have a button there where you can get some help from them and they'll apply. If you're a project that caters to a variety of age groups, so you might not just target young people, you might have a project that involves middle-aged or elderly people, that's okay, don't strike yourself out necessarily. Dorset will still consider it. So if you can kind of give us an indication of how many people, young people that are involved, then that's okay. So how you apply is that you have to, first of all, sign up to Crowdfunder and create a draft project. And when you put in your location, that being the, oh, there's a beep out there, that being the Dorset area, then this will pop up and it will lead you to some more information about the Dorset Fund. What you might find is it can list potential other extra funding that Crowdfunder thinks you could be eligible for. So have a look at them all and see what you think. But when you click into the Dorset Fund in particular, you'll be taken to this page, and this is the application form. So there it is. It's really easy and simple. It's just got a few questions asking you to tell them about your project and what's involved in it. It gives you the opportunity, again, to look at the criteria, and I really encourage you to have another read of this just to make sure you address all the points. And when I say all the points, is mostly two. So like I did say, this was a simple, basic, accessible fund. So the points that you should talk about and explain how your project either provides young people with places to go and things to do in their local area, or how your projects help them improve the community through social action, so volunteering, campaigning, or having a voice in local decisions. If you can explain those two things, then you're set. And like I said, if your project includes other age groups, then that's okay. But in your application form, I would recommend either just by approximate numbers or percentage, just giving some indication of how many of those people involved are young people. And also will review it, they'll consider it, so definitely still apply. I'm going to pop off, and good luck to all you Dorset projects. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with Crowdfunder. I'm specifically the matchmaker, and I help people find appropriate funding for them if there is any at the time. You can find my email address. I will actually say it right now. It is fundingadvice@crowdfunder.co.uk. So you can email me there as well if you have any questions for me.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for joining us, Anna.
No problem.
Goodbye. Great. Thanks. So in your preparation for launching a campaign, there are kind of three different steps to take part in to ensure that you're successful in your project. So first and foremost, that is planning your project, which we're going to have a look at today. Creating your project page on the actual website, and then running your project once you're live. And certainly for the second and third areas, these will form the basis of our next two webinars. So the most valuable resource on the website are the guides that we have available, which cover those three areas on planning, creating, and running your project. They are interactive, and they really have all of the information that you could need to make a success of your project. And from reading them, you'll really understand what's involved and what you can do to make your project a success. You can find these on the Eventbrite page that you use to sign up here, or they are downloadable from our website. So as you can see, there are many different skills involved in running an actual crowdfunding campaign. So it might be that you can look at these and identify which in particular you can manage yourself. So for instance, you could be the project leader, the content writer, and the networker. And looking at those kind of skill sets that we usually see on these campaigns, try and identify where there might be a shortage and think about who you could bring on board. Certainly if you know someone who's a videographer or is working in film, do reach out to them and see if they could assist you with your project. Likewise for social media, if there is an expert in the area that you know of, reach out, see if they're willing to help. The more responsibility you can delegate, the easier it's going to be, and certainly the less stressful of an operation it will be. So the first part that you really need to sort out with your project would be defining your concept, what it is you're trying to achieve. So you want to try and make this as clear as possible to your audience, so that anyone visiting your page or hearing about your idea is really, really clear on what you're trying to do and how you want them to help. Furthermore, it's really helpful to start splitting up your project into different areas of interest, because this will help you identify the particular audiences who might be interested in supporting your project. So we've got 4 examples here, which are Dorset-based projects, and we've split those up into those key areas to give you an idea of what we mean. So from the left, we've got Help Our Dormouse Sleep Soundly. This is a project where they recognise that numbers of dormice in the UK are rapidly declining, and they want to raise money to raise awareness about this fact and make sure that they can do something to reverse that decline. So the broad areas involved in this project would be around nature, around conservation, animal welfare, and in specifically protecting dormice. So once you've identified these different groups, you can start thinking about who might be associated with those groups and what your road into those different groups might be. Whether that's a nature society, it's groups associated with animal welfare, they can all feature part of your audience. So secondly, our second example is a performance company of young people, a mixture of disabled and non-disabled people, who are raising money to go on a tour around the Southwest to perform their show called Becoming. So this project, because it's particular to the Southwest, that gives them a much wider audience. So you can really start thinking about Dorset initially, but then the towns beyond it and the Southwest area. So for them, it was about thinking about which venues and which towns or cities they would be performing in, would like to perform in. And that would help them identify new groups or people who would be interested in their project, would support their project, and therefore share the project with their own networks in that area. Those projects are within the category of arts, theatre and music. So those are all very broad areas, all of which there may be individuals or groups who would be interested in a group of young people who are running such an incredible program. The third example is like that which we might see of a school project or that of a local sports club. In particular, an athletics club had their long jump pitch vandalised in Weymouth. So they're crowdfunding to raise the funds they need to develop a site that they found which is suitable for long jump. So this project is all about community and inclusivity, so getting everyone involved, all ages, to take part in athletics. It's about health, it's about fitness, and so these are the kind of areas of interest that you can tap into, and that will give you a good indication of who you should be chasing to pledge on the project. And thirdly, or rather fourth, we've got a project called Rural Children's Science and Coding Centre in Dorset, or the Atom Club. We'll look at them in a bit more detail. So what these guys were trying to do was set out to address what they call the STEM subjects. So these are science, technology, engineering and maths, which the government has recognised to be of key importance. They saw that in rural areas, it was difficult to find expertise among local schools in technology, and considering the role that coding and technology play in society today, they believe it to be important to get professionals who use coding in their day job to inspire and educate young people. So they needed to raise money to find a site in Dorset to run a local club for kids. And what they did was raise £7,500 from their crowd to secure a new venue. So with a project like this, they in turn tried to identify the different groups and common ground associated with their project. And first and foremost, that is Dorset. It was in Sturminster Newton. But the actual club is available to everyone. So it's about reaching out to all of the organisations within the Dorset area, influential people who might be able to encourage young people to join such an organisation, or find particular parties or people who would like to fund or pledge on an organisation like this. The other common ground you'd consider would be science and technology. These are the two kind of key areas that they're trying to promote. So if there are any other associated groups of interest within the Dorset area who might be able to potentially add a reward to the project, or offer some expertise, or find a particular crowd of people who are interested in the project, they are certainly good areas to follow up. And of course, the project in itself is a youth club, so it's aimed at young people. So where it would be a good idea to track down all of the kind of associated young people clubs across Dorset, find out whether they'd be interested in such a project, and whether the organisations themselves would like to attend and back it. And the project is centred around education. So you've got your schools in the local area and ultimately the parents behind it. So reaching out to those schools was a big part of what they did to try and incentivise young people to join by including the project on mail-outs, weekly newsletters from the schools to the parents to try and gain their support. So when it comes to finding your crowd, try and nail down your idea first. Make that sure that it's clear as possible, and then break it down into those subcategories we've discussed and think about which groups might be interested in supporting you. So why people pledge is often a question that we would get at Crowdfunder, and this kind of falls into two different areas. One of which is that they believe in your idea and they want to make it happen. So we'd see here a kind of a basic donation. They get nothing in return. They just think it's going to do some good in the world, so they pledge. Or they want their reward that they offer. So where crowdfunding works best is in that middle piece, in what we call the sweet spot. So it's really important to try and make sure that your idea is tangible and exciting, that people are motivated by it, but also that you have particular rewards that are going to incentivize them to pledge on the project. So to help identify your audience and your crowd, there's a really excellent exercise in the first guide, Planning Your Project, called a network map. So this will really give you a good idea of the size of your audience and all of the different groups within it. And the idea is to sit down with your team, get a big sheet of paper and start working through who your contacts would be, and who you think you'd like to get in touch with, who would be interested in pledging on the project. So you start from the core group, which form your inner circle of support, which would be your friends, family, colleagues, and neighbours, people that you have a direct relationship with, and you can pick up the phone and tell them about your project. And these are, if you've got a team of people working with you, then we always recommend about 5 people to work on your campaign. So that's 5 different sets of friends and families to include on your network map. And beyond this, you might have a Facebook account, so followers for your particular organization, or existing supporters that are part of your mailing list. So the network map is kind of an evolving piece of work that you can start from the beginning and continually add to as you go. So Facebook is a really useful tool when it comes to crowdfunding, and we often find that it accounts for around 40% of pledges, so well worth having. If you don't have a Facebook page set up for your project or your organization, I would highly recommend it, because it's a great way to reach out to new audiences and to share your project. And here we've got an example of how you can start tracking down those groups that we discussed earlier. In here we can see that we've got Dorset Youth, and it shows us all of the different groups, people and places associated with that across Facebook. And it tells you the number of people that follow that group, and they're certainly the right groups to approach before your project goes live, or during your project, to join them and to request whether you can share your link to your page on with the audience in that group. It's a great way to extend the number of people that you can gain the attention of. So this slide will show you all the different kind of types and groups of supporters that you might find on your project. Super backers are those who can usually add a larger chunk on your project. They could be a private individual, a local business, or an organization who has a bit more money to spare. So when you're doing that networking exercise, it's important to highlight those different people and think about what your approach should be to them individually. So next, influencers are those which are kind of opinion leaders in their area. So that could be on a Dorset level, for example, your local MP. Those who have maybe the area of a larger audience, and by sharing your project across their social media, could find you a lot more support for what you're trying to do. Personal contacts, as we discussed, are your friends and family and your colleagues. It's a really good idea to start warming up this crowd before you go live. So let them know about your live date, what you're planning to do, and how they can help. So by the time that you're going live, they are all ready to pledge, and you can start raising some funds for your campaign. And of course, if you're an established organization, then you might have some existing supporters already. So if you have a mailing list, this could be a good opportunity to send out a mail shot to say that you're planning a crowdfunder, so they expect it when it can come around. So before the next webinar, do have a go at downloading those 3 PDF guides. You can find them on the website or the Eventbrite page that you're watching this video on. Get your idea straight and be really clear on what your project is about. And third, start your network map. So get that piece of paper out and start filling out who you should approach during your campaign, and start getting an idea of what your audience size is. If you have any questions in the meantime, do not hesitate to contact us. You can reach us at support@crowdfunder.co.uk. And in our second part, we'll be looking at creating your project, which will be at 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 24th of August. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your attention this evening. I hope that was helpful, and we'll look forward to catching up again in our next webinar session next week. Many thanks. Goodbye.